So the first thing I want to say about charm.
Okay.
Master the art of validate and invalidate. Master it. A lot of people call this hot cold. A lot of people call this push pull. But you got to master the art of validate, invalidate. It's like a movie or a TV show. Have you ever watched a movie or a TV show where everything was just like positive, happy, positive, happy, positive, happy, the end? You know, that's a boring ass movie. I wouldn't pay anything to go to that movie. Even little kid movies like My Little Pony or some shit, I'm sure there's a part of it where everybody's like, oh, no way, no, right? There's conflict. That's what makes a story good, is conflict, right? When you can validate, that's like positive, awesome, happy, awesome, happy. Invalidate is simply the conflict to the story. That's it. That's when you become memorable. That's when they want to be around you. They're drawn to you. My favorite movie is one of them. My favorite movie. I have a lot of favorite movies, but my favorite movie, one of them, is Back to the Future. There's conflict because motherfuckers go back to the 70s. I don't know why they would ever want to go back to, it's the 50s. And he, gets his mom to fall in love with him. Sounds really weird. Gets his mom to fall in love with him, and now he's not going to be born, right? That's the conflict. Invalidation. So when you can spice that into a 60-second conversation with a girl, you become an intriguing story to her, and she wants to be around you. That's charming. So here's a few different ways that you can do it. There's many different ways, but I just want to give you a few for the purposes of this program. Is one, I won't even write it, blaming her for the escalation, right? Blaming her. Blame everything on her. Blame her for the fact that she is making you like her, right? Blame her for the fact that she makes you want to touch her, right? I wrote down a few lines that you can say, but you can kind of deduce the frame of like where you're coming from with these lines. So one is, you need to stop making me like you. Literally. I say that to girls if I'm making out with them, I'll be like, you need to stop. You're making me like you. You need to stop, right? It's conflict, right? Nobody does that to her. And now I just became a challenge. Now it became the intriguing story that she wants to get to know. She wants to finish the story, see how it turns out. Or, you need to stop, you're turning me on, right? That's a good way to pass a shit test, right? Oh, that's not a very magnetic thing to say. You need to stop, you're turning me on. Right? It doesn't even have to make sense. You're just creating conflict. That's it. Creating tension. That's it. Or, this one I got from Lucifer. I love that show. Lucifer. It's a show on Fox, I think. Yeah, he knows what it is. So basically, he's the devil, and he's a very seductive character. And I heard this, and I was like, that's genius. I wrote it down. So here it is. He goes, you're thinking about it, aren't you? I wouldn't. I'm like walking heroin. Yeah. He literally, like the awkward silence, he's looking at the girl. You're thinking about it, aren't you? You need to stop. I'm like walking heroin. The last one for this, blaming her for the escalation. You might recognize this one. It comes from Crazy Stupid Love. How are you doing this wildly sexy but unbelievably cute thing that you're doing? It's weird. You can learn from me that you don't even have to be that articulate. It's the vibe you convey, not the actual words you say. So how are you doing this wildly sexy but unbelievably cute thing that you're doing? It's weird. And then one note I wrote here is hot, cold, validate, invalidate, push, pull. At first it might seem like a tactic, but as soon as you start validating of yourself, because that's all you need to do is really just validate of yourself first. And the craving for outside validation is completely in your control. You naturally invalidate those who don't share the same values standards for themselves, right? I naturally invalidate people who don't want to improve themselves, who don't want to go out and party and talk to girls. I naturally repel those people away from me, right? Because that's something I like to do. I literally revolve my whole business around it. Improving myself, reading books. Like if you like watching Friends, I mean Friends is a pretty good show, but if you like watching cake boss on Friday nights, you're probably not going to be friends, You naturally, when you validate of yourself and don't crave outside validation, you naturally start to polarize people who aren't right for you out of your life.
Okay.